Hello, I'm Dr. Ruthie, and I'm here with part 2 of your lube guides, and I'm going to be talking about different types of lubricant. We're going to talk about water-based, silicone-based, and oil-based, and we're also going to be talking about some specialty lubes like organics, flavored, and even stimulant lubes and gels and creams and all that good stuff. In the last video, I talked about how we can apply lubricants to the vulva and different areas for the ladies and for our partners. And now I'm going to talk about picking out the best lube. And of course, lube is not just for vulvas. Fear not, lube is excellent for anal play as well. And I'll be talking about that in the next video. So don't worry, for all you anal play lovers, it's going to be there for you to learn a little bit more about lube for that too, which is very important. Alright then, so we're talking about different kinds of lubes and what they're made of. Like I said in the last video, there's 3 main categories: water-based, silicone-based, and oil-based. And most lubes are made of 1 or maybe 2 of those, plus, all of the other different ingredients. Water-based lube is probably the most common. Water-based lubes are friendly with condoms, they're friendly with all different kinds of toys, and they're a good base for all different kinds of bodies. Water-based lubes include all the ones with different kind of plant products in them, and they usually have glycerin and some other kind of chemicals in them to make them a little extra slick. You might see things like aloe and all sorts of different ingredients, but there is, no matter what other ingredients are there or not there that I just listed, there will be no oil, and unless it's a hybrid lube that has water and silicone, there won't be silicone in it. Water-based lubes are more often noted as feeling more natural for women, and they can be used on any gender for any kind of sex play with the genitalia, right? So whether it's penetrating or rubbing, water-based lube can be a good choice. Water-based lubes can absorb or dry, and they're very easy to wash off or absorb or rub into the body, which is a great plus for them. On the downside, because they can dry, sometimes they have to be reapplied. So if you're in a windy place or you're applying it to an area that gets a lot of airflow, for instance for men's self-stimulation, water-based may not be the best choice for you because it's going to evaporate so quickly. Water-based comes in different kinds of thicknesses though, so keep that in mind. There's really, really thin, almost water-like water-based lubricants. There's kind of middle ground lubricants that are a little bit gel, a little bit watery, and there's really thick gels and even water-based creams that are available. Whatever you do, make sure you're getting a good high quality one. Just because they sell it at the department store or the drugstore doesn't mean it's actually high quality. A lot of those lubricants have chemicals in them that are known to be drying over the long term, or they can even encourage yeast growth for yeast infections, or paraben problems, all sorts of sensitivities. So you want to make sure that you get a high quality product. Just because it's popular doesn't necessarily mean it's high quality. Take a look at the labels. Remember, you kind of get what you pay for when it comes to lube, so getting the cheapest one is not always the best. And make sure you're getting one that feels good to you. It shouldn't feel crumbly or sticky or tacky when it starts to absorb or dry. If it does, find another one that matches your body better. Another tip with water-based lubes is that if they are starting to feel a little bit tacky or dry, usually a little bit of water or a little bit of saliva can help bring them back to life. So remember, water-based lubes can be used all over the vulva and vagina, and also anally. The thicker the better for anal use, and you can use lots of them, right? Oil-based lubricants used to be what was really recommended for ladies for self-stimulation because they last so long, and they've been really, really popular for anal play, but they're no good for use with condoms. And unfortunately, our bodies can't clean them out of ourselves very well, no matter where we put them. About the only place they're widely recommended for now is for men's self-stimulation because it doesn't dry in the air. You'll need a soap and water to get it off unless you're able to somehow massage it all into your skin, in which case you'll be quite well hydrated in your skin, right? Anyway, oil-based lubes can't be used with condoms, and they're a little bit hard for the body to wash out, thus could possibly contribute to a little bit of bacteria growth, so keep that in mind with your oil-based. Silicone-based are a newer, more currently popular type of lubricant. They come all by themselves, just silicone, and they come silicone water hybrid. Silicone lubes almost never dry out in the air. They take forever to dry. They're slick, they're slick, they're slick. You can rub and rub and rub between your fingers and they'll never dry out, which means don't spill them on your hardwood or your tile floors, all right, ladies and gents? They are a wonderful choice for anal play because they are condom friendly, and some women like the way they feel on the vulva and some don't. They're also good for men with self-stimulation, and if you want to be having sex in the water, that's the way to do it. You can lubricate yourself before you get into the water, and it'll actually stay on your body instead of rinsing away like a water-based will, so you can have a little more fun in the shower, the hot tub, or wherever you want to be. Sometimes silicone lubes can be a little bit harder to wash off, and there are special kinds of body cleansers for that if you find it to be a problem. Silicone lubes should not be mixed with most silicone toys. For some reason, the types of silicone fight with each other. You can also get a silicone water hybrid. These are often marketed as women's lubricants, and they have a little bit of the water qualities and a little bit of the silicone qualities. It's probably still not a good idea to use them with silicone toys, and they may not work quite as well if you use them before the water, but they'll be longer lasting than a water-based and easier to clean out of your system than a silicone-based, giving you a little bit of the best of all worlds, right? So those are the 3 different main types of lubricant. Now let's look at some of the specialty ones. If you have very sensitive skin, if you are particularly prone to yeast infections or any other kinds of vulva or vaginal or reproductive tract issues, take a look at organic, all-natural lubricants. Now, of course, they have plant things in them, so if you're allergic to aloe, make sure not to get an organic with aloe. It doesn't mean that they're universally okay for everyone. What it generally means is that they're going to be glycerin and paraben free, they may be vegan, they may be non-animal tested dependent on the lube, and they may avoid other types of chemicals that give certain people problems. So take a look at the ingredients listed on your lubricant, and I always think it's a good idea to avoid low-quality glycerin and parabens whenever you can, just to kind of avoid the risk for bacteria and yeast and things, but you know, different people's bodies respond differently, and for many people they're not a problem at all. Also, we can be looking at flavored lubricants. Generally speaking, flavored lubricants taste better than they feel. They're not really very good for slickifying. They tend to be a little thicker and stickier unless you get one of the newer, more premium flavored lubricants that are on the market now. So they can be nice to taste, but they're not really as recommended for anything that's going to cause friction. Also, be careful because a lot of flavored lubricants have different kinds of sugars in them, and that gets back to the yeast issue again. So if you're sensitive to that, you may want to avoid them, just like you wouldn't want to put sugary foods in your vulva or your vagina, just in case for those reasons. And last but not least, we have our stimulant products. These can tingle and numb, and they claim to tighten, and they warm, and they cool, and all sorts of different things. If you have very sensitive skin, this is another group to avoid. If you don't, have fun exploring with it by all means. These are generally not recommended for people who have had cancer treatment in the recent past because they often have peppermint or menthol in them, especially the tingling kind or the orgasm gels and creams, and those are just too much for delicate skin if you've had pelvic treatment in the recent past. But they can be a lot of fun for folks who don't have those concerns or issues going on right now and can be very fun to explore. Again, check the ingredients. Look for sugars and parabens if you're sensitive to those things. Another name for sugar is glycerin, or it might be honey, or lots of other different words. If you're not sensitive to them, then have fun. They've been very popular lately, and there's a lot of really good ones on the market right now. So those are your main categories of lubricants and the pros and cons for each of them. Your water-based, your oil-based, your silicone-based, and your silicone oil hybrids. We also talked about your organics, we talked about glycerin and paraben, we talked a little bit about flavored lubes, and a little bit about all the stimulant products that we have going on now for numbing and tingling and all those other different qualities. Hopefully that will give you some good background information as you decide which kind of lubricants you want to try. And I always recommend that you get yourself several small bottles of different types and see which ones are your favorite. I'm Dr. Ruthie. This has been an educational video brought to you by funwares.com, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Thanks.